Welcome everybody to a look at the first film in the Columbia Horror box set, which is just there in that shelf there. Yeah, and the first film is 1932's Behind the Mask. This is directed by John Francis Dillon, who unfortunately I've not seen anything else from before, but I'll probably check out some more of his films after seeing this. So this film clocks in at 69 minutes long, is a crime horror film that is a stars Jack Holt, who was in the likes of Cat People, Constance Cummings, who was in the likes of The Criminal Code alongside Boris Karloff, and Finger of Guilt, and finally Boris Karloff himself, who has seen in 45 other films now, with the likes of Targets, Lord, Bedlam, and Isle of the Dead being recent favourites. So this is about the dastardly Dr. X who murders his patients and smuggles narcotics in their coffins, and it is up to a Secret Service agent to nab him. So it is probably a bit of a stretch to call this a horror film, although the idea of being killed by a seemingly innocent doctor to help in the distribution of drugs is at least somewhat unnerving, especially in an era nowadays where medical malpractice is so well known and so well publicized. Yeah, my cat jumping around there. Yeah, but that said, this does work at least as a crime film that has an engaging plot and a really rather good cast, especially from the three leads. It is also well paced, has some funny lines in its script. The character interactions are solid, and there is some decent tension. But again, it is a bit of a stretch to call this a horror film. There's only really one bit towards the end I guess you could say it's horrifying. You know, a guy's strapped to the table. He's got a doctor coming at him with a knife and threatening to cut him open and make the pain really well quite horrific for him. That's kind of horror centric. Reminds me of some more modern films in that regard. My cat is annoying me. Let me just get it off. There we go. Yeah, that's kind of similar in that regard. Um, But at the end of the day, it's way more of a crime film, and this poster is doing a lot of heavy lifting in terms of trying to sell it as a horror film, because the whole knife thing and Boris Karloff isn't really going to come into it all that much. And yeah, Boris Karloff is a lot more of a grounded character than, say, his other characters from the early 30s, like Frankenstein and the Mummy. But still, it's entertaining enough, and being as short as it is means that yeah, it's nothing egregious and nothing that's not worth watching. Yeah, this is a high definition remaster of the film on this disc. You've got original mono audio, and then on the Behind the Mask film, you've got audio commentary with filmmaker and film historian Daniel Creamer from 2024. Then you've got A Gentleman of Leisure. Author and academic Sheldon Hall assesses the career of Jack Holt. So that's from 2024, clocking in at 11 minutes long. Who is the forgotten star of this film and the other film that is also on this disc in this box set. Then we've got the BEHP interview with Constance Cummings from 1997, clocking in at 69 minutes long, ironically the same length as this film, which is an archival audio recording made as part of the British Entertainment History Project of the Behind the Mask actor in conversation with Roy Fowler. And then we've also got image gallery for Behind the Mask, as well as new and improved English subtitles for the deaf and hard of hearing. And yeah, it's a world premiere of Behind the Mask on Blu-ray as well. Yeah, that in of itself is always a good thing to have a film that's never been released anywhere coming onto Blu-ray in a really rather good condition, because the presentation looks fine. There's no issues with the sound either. And yeah, to finally get another Boris Karloff film on Blu-ray is always a treat, just in the same way that it is with the likes of Vincent Price. Yeah, enjoyable film, but don't go in expecting a full-blown horror from the early 30s. It's really very quite limited in terms of the horror, but it all comes together in a nice enough way to make for a 3.5 out of 5 film. So a solid start to the box set, but not quite as horrifying as I was expecting, given it stars Boris Karloff, who is obviously a horror icon. Nonetheless, so thank you for watching. If you have seen this film before, I'd like to hear your thoughts on it, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.